Page 26, Jesus Loves Me. Melody is going back and forth between the two hands. Look at the first line. The quarter notes are the melody for the most part. The left hand gets it, and they want the second finger on the G. You're in this position, so it's here. This is in the melody, and then in the last two measures, the first line, the right hand gets it. The whole idea with this melody, why it's so important, is because we want to bring out the melody. We want to play the melody a little louder than anything else if possible. It takes a little practice to get that kind of control, but I encourage you to work on that. You just keep working on it. It could take years, doesn't matter, just keep working on it. But in the left hand, when you go from the second measure to the third measure and you're here, then you get, all of a sudden you got to be soft. Can you go from loud to soft all of a sudden? Now it's not really loud. They say medium loud. The point is you're bringing out the melody and then suddenly your background all of a sudden. And that can take some practice. And both hands have to do this. Now in the right hand at the beginning you have half notes and half rests. So be sure and bring the hand up, the right hand up on beat 3. When the left hand plays beat 3, the right hand comes up. At the beginning you're here. This is 1-2 by the way. Your hand position is here in the right hand. They don't tell you that. But the idea is in the third measure you want third finger on the A and you have an E-G to begin with, and that puts you in this position. We don't need to be moving the hand around like that. We can cover it all in one position. So it's 1-2 for the half notes. So we're here, right on when the left hand plays that second E, the right hand comes up. Second measure, when the left hand plays the half note, the right hand. So be careful on these rests to make sure you play the rest. That is, be quiet. Now second line. The first two measures are the same as you had. In the third measure, remember, you've been in this position, the right hand, but I suggest you now move and put your fifth finger on the A's. So now you're in this position, more or less. Actually, in this position. You're somewhere down here, but use your fifth finger on that. You have two rests to get down there. So the second line is here. Now move the right hand down so it can continue on. The third line, it's all melody, bring it all out. The problem here is to make it sound like one hand played it all. And that can be hard too because you have to balance out the loudness between the hands. And that can, for me, I had problems with that, but I finally got the hang of it. Last line, you move your right hand back up here. And on that fermata on the last line, I'm going to hold that 2 counts because I'm playing with a metronome. If I'm not playing with a metronome, I just kind of hold it out for however long I think it needs to be held. And then there's a 1 beat rest, and during that rest I'm going to move the right hand back down here. And the next to the last measure, look at this fingering in the right hand. I like this. It's 4, 2, 3. I like using different fingers on repeated notes anyway, but this is, you're not doing it because it's repeated, you're doing it because you need to change positions. There's other fingerings we could use, but I like this fingering, I recommend it. And then the left hand is harmony. But watch the fingering in the left hand there, and the next to the last measure at the bottom. 4, 3. We did like we did in the right hand. And then going into the last measure, you're going from here to here. That can be a problem for some people. And again, it's the same technique I've been teaching. I use the weight of the hands to push the notes down. The wrist can go up and down, whatever. I'm exaggerating for you. The motions are actually pretty little. But you're down with the ring finger down on the D. And then when I want to play the chord, I lift the wrist up. The ring finger's still down, and then as I lower the wrist, I'm lowering the weight. The ring finger comes up and the other fingers go down. And it's the weight that pushes the notes down. It's not the fingers. And with a little practice, I think you'll find you can do that once you get control of the ring finger. The scales will help you get control of the ring finger if you'll practice scales like I explained in the scale video. And here, do the C major scale. At the beginning of the first line in the left hand, those two whole notes, the last two measures, it's here to here. That can be tricky for some people to get. But it's the same technique I explained earlier. Your hands are down, the wrist is down, you raise the wrist, and as the wrist comes down with the weight, then you simply lift up some fingers and lower the other fingers, but the weight is pushing the notes down. You get it in the second line too. Then the third line down, you're starting out in the left hand in this position here, but in the third measure they want your thumb on the G. You have plenty of rest, you got time, so you just move down one. See if you can make this move without looking at the keyboard. It's just one key. You need to develop that feel of going up and down one key without looking if you can, but you want the thumb on that half note G in the third measure of the third line. Let's try this out slowly just to double check everything. The phrasing, we want to hear the phrasing, so there's a little bit of silence between the phrases. Sometimes they give you a rest between the phrases, and that helps too. So I'll give us 4 counts, and then we'll play it. So the right hand is here, and the left hand's here. Okay. 1, 2, ready, go. 2. Hold, rest,